I want to switch off to a new topic called emails dying, augmented communication in localization project. And let me quickly introduce you to our two awesome speakers, Dominik Tarasiewski and Karma Chmielewski. Dominik holds a PhD in computer science and is an IT expert and auditor, spanning the IT and business world, full stack IT analysis, a technology visionary, cloud expert, solution architect, software localization and internationalization practitioners, a founder and chief innovation officer at XTRF Management System, the leading transition management system used worldwide by 2,500 PMs daily. And Conrad is in the industry since 2006. Before joining XTRF as a head of sales, worked as an Argo multilingual, a social selling enthusiast, believing in always giving value first. Speaking 4 languages and learning new ones. It's awesome. He sees sales as a mission to help others see and achieve what they didn't think was possible. Dominik, Conrad, my friends, please go ahead. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for this nice introduction. Let us share the screen.
Yeah.
And we'll start.
Okay. Okie doke.
Okay. Hope you can see the opening slide. Okay, so email is dying. What we'll be talking about how the situation we can see today. So a little bit of diagnosis, then what can be done, and our proposition and the solution for the entire industry. Hope that you will enjoy our ideas.
Yeah, so we'll take you on a journey, or what we're using right now, what we're seeing right now, and what we have, Alexia, what we have come up with.
So a few words about the globalization trends. Email, so it's quite an old way of communication, and even if we can see even more and more emails now on email box, it doesn't mean that it's more effective.
Now that's probably the oldest. If I were to answer a question, what's the oldest tool used in this industry? Probably the answer is email.
So I know that this protocol TCP/IP, but we're not that technical. Okay, so it's email.
Yeah.
And what's the problem with the email? The number of spam emails that we are receiving, and it's not even the spam, but itself, but it's about the emails that you are ignoring, about the emails that you are not answering, and then about the emails that nobody wants to receive.
Yeah. So we need to do a lot of work at our brains to use it effectively, know what to respond to, how to read things.
Yeah, and especially this pandemic time, we all switched to remote work, and also schools switched to remote work. And the number of emails me as a father of 5 children received, this was like horrible. No, we could do nothing else but responding to teachers' emails. It's horrible. We can continue to communicate like this, not even at home, but also doing our businesses. It's not efficient anymore.
Yeah. So what else do we have there? What else do we have at up our sleeves? Things that can be used. So there is the good old phone, and people still use it to communicate in the industry. If you want something done fast, if you want something discussed fast,
especially when somebody doesn't respond to the email.
Exactly.
So it's SMS as an escalation and phone as a total or top escalation way. However, it's still not the solution for the problem. And we don't want to be interrupted by SMSs. We don't want to be interrupted by phone calls. We need to think about other strategies. And of course, these strategies exist.
Yeah, phone is very disruptive. When you get a phone call, or when I know this because I'm in sales, so you totally take someone out of their wherever they are, their mind, their work, or whatever, and it has no history unless you follow up with an email to summarize what was discussed.
Definitely. So stop being like global and concentrate on our industry. So definitely what we need. Email, okay, it's not fast enough, it's not responsive enough, and what the most critical element is not working the context. So we don't, we have to, in our mind, switch the context of the given email to the particular project or the situation. Phone, okay, we used to call our vendors to speed up things.
Yeah, but would you send a text message with a long authentication link to a platform?
No,
Exactly.
rather not.
So,
yeah. So of course there are communication platforms, and we would like to stick on this a little bit. Generic communication platform that we start using even more in this pandemic times. All this WhatsApp, instance messengers, and others. And we are like successfully using them with our, let's say, family life or private life, but they are not yet adapted in the business, except maybe Slack in the IT industry. However, they are not standard for translation industry.
exactly. So that was something about, you know, where we are as the industry, everyone who's watching, but we've taken a look at what's happening out there, because a lot of the things that, well, Gala is about as well, to bring new people to the industry, to make sure that there's disruption coming from the outside, to have fresh talent, to look outside what's out there. And we have basically spoken to people, so-called Gen Z or Gen Z. You know, what are their interactions? And this was before the pandemic, actually. So this is what we ended up with. And what strikes us here is, well, one thing that I remember, Dominic, you said one of the responses Dominic got is that people at this age, they don't even have.
Yeah, that's a funny story, but I will refer to what David just said. We need people to help making all this translation, to build our industry, not only today, but also in the future. We will be evolving as an industry, but there is quite an interesting future up front. And to be able to address all the challenges of localization, we need young, fresh people to joining this idea of communicating effectively between each other. And we cannot do it without modern tools, without modern way people communicate. Friends of my oldest daughters, close to 20 currently, don't have email address. You know, they are using all the communication, of course, Facebook and other stuff, but emails is set crappy for them that they don't even like use it for business purposes. And now when we want to attract them, we force them to send us an email with CV and then use all these emails in the professional communications. Maybe it's time for a change.
Yeah. So what we have done as part of our research was that we have, like Dominic said, there's tools that people use to communicate. There's some new ones, or say ones that have become more and more popular during the pandemic, especially. But if you have a situation where different stakeholders use different tools, then you might need something that's called an aggregator of those different tools. This is one tool that we found. It's called Franz, and it combines a couple of those tools so that you can have them all in one place, all your accounts, and it seems like it's just one platform. This one is even more crazy. I think it's called Rambox. And there's also plugins to WordPress that we've decided to show this as one example of a UI that strives to combine all those tools so that you can have like one communication console. But I have no idea how it would look if three people from three different tools want to have one conversation or maybe 3 different conversations with you. So that would be that must be done.
Yeah, it's probably was to solve the problem. Okay, I know there was a conversation, but I don't remember in which communicator I used for this, but still it looked horrible. So we asked ourselves, what as an industry are our expectations against this problem? What is already addressed by the call them general or generic communication platforms. And we pointed out all these aspects, and some of them the most critical you can find here. Yeah. So of course we would like to have a mobile application. So and responsiveness was much faster and can be reached even outside the office. Yeah. GDPR compliance or the legal stuff that are here in European Union important, of course, in states. There are other regulations that have to be maintained while using this kind of communication channels. The most important one from industry perspective is project and job context. So in the context of regular or generic tool, we would like to be aware of what project are we talking about, be able to reach the details of the project in our proprietary system or in TMS or catch tool. Of course, full history and searchability. And here again, some of providers are limiting this functionality only to paid plans.
Yeah, there's also a need that that is somewhat GDPR compliant, but somewhat very specific to the industry to be able to, let's say, help the project coordinator, someone who's in the middle between the client and the provider, to know which conversation is which, because they kind of have to join 2 parallel worlds. So they need to have it easy to have the vendor look like it's an anonymous person, so that the client does not contact them directly and make the PM redundant. That's still a need in the industry.
Very specific feature you cannot find elsewhere is this vendor name anonymization. From as a project manager, I would like to know who I'm talking with, and at a particular vendor, I shouldn't be present the names of other vendors because most companies' policies are not like ours.
It's like cleaning the properties of a Word file that your translator delivers, and you just want to forward it to your client.
Automatic chat room management, so all this communication structures or participants will be automatically added and removed from channels basing on the actual project participation list. It's critical and can be simplified and automated.
Yeah.
Availability and message delivery visibility supported by most of the tools.
And this is something that email would never give.
Yeah, it's not for email, but just analyzing all the possible solution. And at the end of this deep analysis, and after asking close to 200 vendors of different industry players, we get to the conclusion that there is no tool that able to fulfill all these requirements, and even more. What's even more important, no tool is willing to go this way, because we are, from the global business perspective, quite a niche domain, and no one wants to modify Slack to support this kind of challenges.
Yeah,
that's why we decided to create our own solution, and we call this XTref Chat. So, wow.
So knowing what we know, and knowing what we told you about the must-have that we have identified, and what we feel about the other tools that we're still using. Let's face it, because we communicate with people who are using it. We thought that we need to take it one step further. We need to help the people that use our platforms get something better, to get the communication take one step forward.
Absolutely, and this is why we invested in the idea called augmented communication, combine the, let's say, the chatting platform or chatting features with all the information that can be taken from TMS and Xref in particular to support project manager in automation of this channel preparation. So this was like the very base idea. And this interface for TMSs, of course, will be open, so we could integrate with other technologies also, but it definitely helped to create a safe, secure, fast environment for communication in language industry. We are currently supporting vendors, so there is a mobile application from vendor, and the vendor can like access all this information in context of particular translation project. And of course, for project manager may select, may use mobile phone or embedded version that can be integrated directly in translation management system. So there are a few screens on the next slide. So here are the actual live screens from the application that is up and running and is ready for
the good thing
next
the good thing from the project manager's perspective is something that that we have received as feedback from clients, is that a lot of work is happening within the TMS, within the system that manages the whole business and the project work, but a lot of the time people just need to completely forget about this and move into a separate environment, which is their inbox. And once they're there, their inbox takes over the control. So that's one aspect that that clients said that that's not really productive. And another thing is that, you know, once it's in the email, it's just out there and it's nowhere. The system that you use for managing your work has no idea what's happening, has no idea if it's being delivered, if it's being responded to, what's the status, what's happening. So for someone who wants to have access to their data and draw conclusion, big data, analyze it, put some AI on it, they have no idea about what's happening in the communication aspect.
Absolutely right. And here we're like filling this gap with our solution. It is very well say noticed or welcome. We started late August, very first September, with a few initial clients of ours, and after it's like 3 weeks now,
Yeah, 3 weeks.
we have more than 350 active vendors already using this. So this is really fast growing community, and we hope that after a few initial improvement that we noticed, we'll be able to scale up even faster. And what is the nicest element here, and why I'm smiling as a director of research and innovation here in Xref, is that's the only first step. It's a very first step because we're like creating a communication channel for the industry, and in particular for Xref users. But we can build a lot of useful and helpful tools above this idea. So we'll share only two of them. We are now working on enabling the entire platform to be app-oriented, so similar to Slack or something. You probably know from this platform. It will be able for Xref to install additional application. The very first is automatic in-context notification. So imagine that as an add-on to the communication channel, we receive an automated tool that will automatically remind the vendor about the deadline approaching, or inform that the project has been cancelled, or any other, let's say, housekeeping stuff that can be automated based on knowledge we have from TMS. And the other application,
yeah, the other use case is even broader, because when we were like looking into email and really taking it apart, how XTRF uses emails, it's not really communication, it's just notification. You send it out there and you say, okay, I've notified these people, but there's no real dialogue, there's no back and forth. And we thought that a system could actually talk to the users in a more interactive way, thanks to a chatbot. And such a chatbot would have access to all the information that the system has, so would be able to ask if a project is acceptable for a provider. If no, would take on that response, not in a simple click a link, yes, no, but could actually interact with them because the system knows what's acceptable for the PM. So negotiating deadlines or word rates, that would also be possible. That's not distant future scenario.
Yeah, definitely. So here's where AI lives, when NLP lives, all this challenging stuff that we are discussing here internally, and that we hope that with this new communication channel will help manage vendors in a more efficient way, and also help vendors to build more effective, responsive, and spam-free.
Yeah, because it's not only about XTRF. The good thing about this for the industry is that there's an open API. So if you're using anything else, reach out to us.
Yeah, I have to tell, mail us. Sorry. Yeah, but it's definitely something that we are like thinking in a more generic way than only XTRF oriented. We are thinking about something that we'll be able to share with all the technological partners here in our industry. That's why we are like structuring on opening the API and enabling others to integrate and even to embed XTRF chat in their own solution. Wow, that's all.
Yeah,
on time,
that's
I guess.
it.
So
20 minutes.
Thank you for your attention and waiting for questions.
Thank you so much, Dominic and Comrade. So let me share my screen. There are 2 questions. Actually, could you guys unshare, please? So let me share my screens.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. All right, guys, for the audiences and attendees, if you have any questions, please post on the Q&A panels under the control panel. But let me share my screen because we have 2 questions that I think we're all eager to know. The first question is that, is there a certain staff size where it becomes sensible to use an aggregator or other communication channel? In other words, it is worth it to the cost and the effort to support this?
Well, I think the aggregators that we have given as an example, it's something that's not a matter of the size of the organization, because I remember, you know, like James said at the introduction, working at an LSP, there's a lot. We used to say, being in sales there, that, you know, a potential client is born every day, but a reliable translator is not. So when you find one, you need to adjust whatever they want to use to whatever they want to use. And it's the same in terms of the CAD tool as also for the communication channel. So if you have one translator that prefers WhatsApp messages and the other prefers working, I don't know, with email or Skype, then it makes sense to use such an aggregator that we have given as an example. But when it comes to the XTRF chat itself, the good thing about it is that it's completely free. So you can register. If you're on the vendor side, you can register and you just join the trend. You know, if you want to integrate, then that's a service cost that can be you know, bound to either yourselves or XTRF. But that's it. From an LSP who is on the vendor side, there's no cost to it.
Well
Hope
said.
I answered the question.
Thank you. The second question is, what do you think of RPA, or robotic processing automation, that uses bots to automate communication like billing reporting? Like, for example, do you see this will replace email or most repetitive communication for things like project handoff or project statuses to the stakeholders or localization PMs?
Okay, so long story short,
3 years ago.
yes and no. XREF as a platform is oriented to help in automation, and we see the change of the role of project manager. So it won't be a person that will in the kind of robotic way, moving files from one pile to another pile, enabling something, disabling access and so on. No. First of all, it will be kind of designer of the process that can suit the needs of the particular clients. And the other more important role is like exception handler. So the more we automate, the more exception arises, and the more exception handlers we need. So all this unspecific situation, or the situation when bots failing, when automation cannot get through because it's unusual situation. And here, wow, it's a kind of challenge, because the project manager, instead of doing repetitive work, will have to run his innovation and invent the desired behavior in unpredicted situation. So here, of course, still is a lot of place for project managers, but not to concentrate on being expert in executing repetitive work.
Yeah, it's 3 years ago that we did a presentation on automated project management, and that would be a good question there as well.
Yeah, so thank you for this question. We're definitely in this topic.
Great, thank you. The next question is, it is maybe or a little bit too early to say email is dying, since according to the statistic, over 80% of people still using email before 2018 for communication and work. So the question is, how soon, from your opinions or your professional opinions, do you think that email will die?
Yeah, I think this question is connected to the disruption that we feel is inevitable in the industry. Because if you think about the exponential growth of source content, and even with what David was showing, like 30% of it, according to Lancers, still is post-edited. So there won't be enough translators. Plus, we don't want these people to be translators. We want them to be subject matter experts. And going back to my previous point, if their preferred environment of work is a screen with 2 columns, so be it. But if they just want to look at a content and in their native language and say, well, this reads good, I approve it, then we will need to adjust. And I think it's just a natural step that this will happen. Plus, these statistics were the latest we were able to find was 2018. I myself would be super interested to see how 2020 would look there.
I like the parallel of environment. So like look around, and everybody is claiming that our Earth is dying. So the changes are really small, but the global impact and the effect that will be observed in the next years will be really substantial. And the same with emails. Okay, we're not telling that email will be completely removed in next or years or a few years, but we can see the trend that is more and more significant, especially in the context of the young generation. And that's why we give this controversial, let's say, title.
Thank you. The next question, I think, is something should be quick. Who's the best contact to your team to talk about the technical details for integrations?
Yeah, I think
absolutely,
Dominic, reach out to him in the Gala app, or reach out to me if you don't see him there. But I think we're both there. So
yeah, we're really open to start the discussion. So thank you for the question.
So maybe we have last question, since I know people are looking for answer to this one. What is a backup system in place so that any past communication years ago can be retrieved quickly? What's the best way based on your opinions?
The pop-up window just
okay. What the backup communication system? Oh, no idea. I would recommend some services of XREF. But it depends on many other aspects. We are using Google Cloud, and believe that the infrastructure being built by Google is really reliable and can survive a lot of strange situation. We personally, as XREF, also have 2 or 3 backups in different geographical locations. So again, if you would like to go more into details with this topic, we can schedule a direct.
We can take that offline. All right, thank you so much, Dominic and Comrade. This is an awesome presentation. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much, guys. This is the end of session 3, and wow, this is an awesome 3 sessions so far for you guys. Can't wait for the next 3 sessions to come. But for now, let's take a 15-minute break to stretch your arms and legs and get some water and coffee. I'm sure I need it. But talk to you guys in a bit, okay? Thank you so much, guys. Take care.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Okay.